Hi, I'm Darnell at Wave 11 Recipes, and this is my review of the Hamilton Beach 2-in-1 Countertop Toaster in Long Shot 2-Slice Toaster. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed. Alright, so now that everything's unboxed, let's see what it comes with. You get a manual here, and you get a wire rack. And it's a wire rack that kind of has an underneath holder for the bake pan. So there's a bake pan, and you can, if you want, put the bake pan underneath the wire rack if you want to do it like that. You can like catch drippings and stuff that way if you want. And the power cord is a 2-prong polarized cord. It's not a very long cord. They say it's a 26-inch cord. And the cooker is 1450 watts, so with that you are about 400 watts away from, well, you're less than 400 watts away from the max. So you want to probably not have anything else on the same circuit because you don't want to blow the circuit. Now the temperature ranges for this cooker, it has a min setting for minimum, which is below 200 degrees Fahrenheit on the temperature dial, so somewhere below 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It goes up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. The time ranges, it's got a dial where you can do like about 5 minutes up to 60 minutes, but it also has a stay on function, which will just run as long as you want to let it run. And the dimensions of the cooker are 12.05 inches in depth, 17.8 inches in width, and 10.24 inches in height. And they say that it can hold 16 liters of, well, it's got 16 liters of space inside is what they say. That's about 17 quarts of interior space. And they say that it can fit a 9-inch pizza. It can hold 3/4 pound of fries. And they say that the Long Shot toaster here on the top can hold 2 regular slices of bread or 1 long slice of bread. And the total package weight, that box and all that it came in, is 14.6 pounds. I don't know the exact weight of the cooker itself, but somewhere less than that in the packaging and all. And so now let me just show you around the cooker a little bit. So you see the front, you see the side, nothing really on the side. This is not an air fryer type of, or not a convection type of toaster oven. You got your handle for your toaster there. And you see the back, and you see a little look underneath, but the top is what's interesting because the top has a toaster. I mean, it's like a for real slot toaster that you pull the lever on, built into a toaster oven, which is pretty interesting. Now, as we get further into this review, I do want to mention that here on the channel there are over 900 different videos using different countertop cookers. That covers over 100 different countertop cookers, so there's plenty here to enjoy. Also, in this video, there's the chapters feature to advance to any timestamp that you want. And of course, the timestamps in the video description as well, if you want to use that method to find a place if you wanted to jump to another part of the video. So, plenty here to enjoy and check out. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a closer up view of the cooker here. It's got a pull-out drip tray here that you can pull out when you want to clean that off. And you see the dials here. You've got a time dial here on the bottom, and you've got your temperature dial, and you've got, like, this lights up whenever it's on, or you can press it like a button to cancel if you want it to end the cook immediately. And this is your shade for your toaster, so like if you're using the toaster and you got it drop down, you can adjust your shade that way. And so just give you a closer look inside of the toaster there. It's kind of interesting. And let's look in here. We see we got 2 heating elements on the bottom. We've got nothing on the sides because it's not like a convection toaster oven or anything of that sort. Up top, I'm trying to get you a view up top. It's kind of tough, but I see, looks like maybe 2 heating elements up there. Let me try and just feel real quick. I feel 1. I feel, yeah, 2. So I'm filling 2 heating elements, and then there's like the toaster apparatus. So it's like with the toaster, you got to have it on this toast slider on the toast. And then you can drop that down, and you see that it comes down a little bit when you're toasting there to make your toast. So with the wire rack, it's like if you open up, and you got to make sure that the wire rack is on the end where you can slide the bake pan in, and that's for your wire rack. But if you have something with drippings or you're broiling or something, you can slide that bake pan in underneath there like that. Or I guess if you wanted to do baking, you can slide that bake pan in there on the top like that. Alright, so let's do some independent measurements. And so we'll just start here at the bottom, going across. And we've got a good about 17.5 inches that way. And just going over the top here, so there's no hump in the back, I'm just going to the handle, and I've got a solid 12 inches coming up to the handle there. And we'll do the height also, and on height we are getting about 10 inches on height. Now I'm going to just go inside here, check things inside. We can do like the interior height, and it's like almost 5 inches, I guess, if you have the rack in there on the rack level. Let's see if we can get this in here. There we go. You've got about 3 inches there, but they say you should leave some space from the heating element. So there is a guard to kind of help keep you from getting up on the heating element. So you really do have about 3 inches of space to work with there. And so I'm just going to take that out while I continue my measuring. And going across the inside here, we've got 13 inches this way on the inside. Going front to back, we've got 9 inches. Yeah, well, really more than 9. It's like, yeah, it's about 9 actually, because the door kind of comes up to here. So it's like 9.5 to the door hinge, but 9 to this kind of like interior groove here. So you do get about 9.5 really to work with before you hit the door itself. Now I want to check the toaster. It's not plugged in. You don't want to put anything, of course, metal or anything in a toaster when it's plugged in. You might, electrocute yourself. But if I let the toaster all the way down and I put my tape measure in, I'm seeing about not even 5 inches. Really, I think the part that's really going to get toasting, when I look down in there, I think you don't want to go more than about 4 inches. If your bread's taller than 4 inches, it might not get much of the heating element action on the bread. So that's about how much space you get for your bread. And also we need to measure the length of the slot itself. So the slot itself is a good 12 inches of slot length there. And for the width of the slot, we got almost 1.5 inches, not quite 1.5 inches though. So that's how much you get for all your different measurements on your bread. So you'll have to determine from there, based on your bread size and such, what'll fit. Alright, so now I've got the Hamilton Beach next to the Ninja Foodie Flip Toaster. Full review and a full playlist, 2 playlists actually, are here on the channel for this cooker. And so basically with the flip toaster, it can flip between being a toaster and a baker and a broiler. And so we see that, of course, the Hamilton Beach is much larger overall. But with the Ninja, I just kind of want to do some just measurements of it when it's in its toaster mode. When it's in toaster mode, it's setting up like this. And its toaster is, I'll just bring it down so you can see here. It's a little over 10 inches, about not even 10.5 inches that way. And this way here, you get about 3 inches. So it's bigger that way. And when I bring the slot down, I've got like almost 6 inches. So larger slices of bread overall can fit in here if you've got big bread than you can in here. This is made more for regular sized bread. This can hold larger bread if that's what you're just trying to do, is toast larger slices of bread. Now with the Ninja Foodie Flip Toaster, when you turn it this way, basically it's in its baking mode, and this is where you use this kind of pan that goes in to do like your baking and such. You pull this back and you put that in there, and then you can do like your baking and your broiling and such that way. So you kind of get, you know, same functions as this, but this has a smaller form factor to it. And so I just wanted to give you a quick view of these two side by side, even though the Hamilton Beach is just bigger overall. Alright, so I'm going to get things plugged in here real quick. Since it's a manual cooker, there's, you know, nothing to light up or anything. It's not digital. So I'm just going to give you a closer view of the display here. Alright, so I'm hoping that you can see the display very well now up close. And so now I'm going to talk about the functions that this cooker has. So basically there's this slider here where you're on, you know, toast mode, or you flip over to oven mode. When you flip over to oven mode, things on the top here close up. So just to give you a view over top, since I switched things to oven mode, things closed up here. When I switch it back to toast, things open up there for bread to go in. So we're going to keep it in oven mode for a moment. Now I'm going to switch it back to toast mode, and so it opens up, and I'm going to talk about toasting a little bit. And so basically they say that you should make sure that the pan is removed when you're toasting. You don't want anything in here, so we'll just go ahead and take this stuff out while we do toasting and talk about toasting. And things, I guess, you know, any crumbs or whatever will go down to the crumb tray when you're doing toast mode. But basically you would just add your bread in just like you would with a regular pop-up toaster, and then you turn to your desired darkness level here. You know, whatever darkness level, it's like between 1 over to 5 shades of darkness that you would turn to, so that's the darkest one there. And then after that, you press down on the handle here, and you just basically let it go, and it'll do its thing, and it'll pop up when it's done. If you need to cancel the toasting early, there's a cancel button, and that cancel button will immediately pop it up and end the toasting. Now the cancel button is only for canceling toasting. The cancel button is not going to basically do anything for you when you're trying to cancel a bake, when things are in bake mode. And this little light here comes on when things are basically running to let you know that, you know, it's in use at the time. Now if you want to cook bagels, don't use the toaster, because the toaster is going to cook both sides. With bagels, you want to toast the open side. So with bagels, you would put them in the oven and you would use the broil function with them basically facing up to basically cook them that way instead of using toast. Now let's go over to the oven function. So switching over to oven, and the top closes up. And basically anything below the broil setting here on temperature is baked. So you basically get your toasting function, you got your oven functions with all your temperature options, and then you have broil if you want to broil things. And I do have to show you, when you're in oven mode, there are 2 rack levels. So there's this lower level here that you can use down here that's, you know, lower than the upper heating element. And then you can go up here to this higher level that's up there. So you get 2 rack levels. So I actually should measure for you doing that lower level, because I did the upper level earlier. But from the lower level, you get about 4 inches there. So you gain about an inch when you're in the lower level. And when you're in this upper rack level here, you see you get 3 inches. So about an inch difference there. Now when you're using basically the bake temperatures, you would use the upper rack level position if it's like pizza, chicken nuggets, or pieces of small frozen snack type items. You use the lower position if you're doing like a cake, or you're doing small whole chicken, you know, baked in the pan if you want to. And you can do baked potatoes and foil on the rack position, the lower rack position, or you can do those in the pan if you want. And so basically you just turn to the temperature of your choice here, you know, around the dial, and then you would turn to your time of your choosing. And they say if you're going to go like less than 10 minutes, you should turn it past 10 minutes and then turn back to get to less than 10 minutes. So like it starts at 5, you know, they expect you're going to do at least 5 minutes. If you want to do the stay on feature where it stays on as long as you want, you have to turn it all the way around. And to get it turned all the way around to stay on, there are 2 buttons on the side. You have to hold those buttons as you turn into stay on to get it to stay on. Now if you're broiling, you're only going to use the upper rack position, and you're going to put the bake pan underneath it to catch any drippings or anything. And of course broil is the highest temperature setting there. And so broil, you know, maybe it's 450. I mean, it's showing 450 then broil. So broil only is going to use the top heat, but I guess maybe it's going to do 450 just from the top and why they have it there. And like I said, there's like 200 here and then minimum all the way around here. So we don't know how low it goes. And broil, you know, I guess maybe it does a 450 or as hot as it can from the top. They do warn that you should not use oven cooking bags, and they do mention that you should unplug the cooker when it's not in use. Okay, so now we're going to do a temperature test. I've got an ambient probe on the rack there. So I'm going to close up here. And this wire doesn't impede the door at all. And so we'll just be able to read the temperature here on the readout. And so I'm going to turn the temperature over to its 450. So I'm not going to do the broil because that only comes from the top down. And we're going to do, as far as time, I'm going to try and get it over to 30 minutes. Let me see where 30 minutes is here. Yeah, 30 minutes is kind of around here on this other side. So maybe about 30 minutes there. But I'm going to let that go ahead and run for a while. You hear that the toaster oven's very quiet. The only thing you hear is the tick from the timer ticking. So I'm going to give it about 10 minutes to run like this. Alright, so I've let things go for about 10 minutes or so, and I've seen the temp get up to about 465, but it's staying up above 450 the whole time once it got up to temp. And basically they mentioned that you should do a burn off, and with any cooker, even a conventional one that's a cooker, you need to do a burn off. But they say that you should basically run it at the highest temp with the accessories in for 10 minutes to do a burn off at 450. So you want to make sure you do that. And if you ever need to end the cook early on the oven mode, you would just turn this dial to off, and you want to, they say turn the temperature to min and then turn the dial to off to just basically shut things down as best as possible. I'm going to go ahead and feel around now, and feeling on the table, it's just a little, well, I think that's radiant heat. Yeah, it's not really cold on the, I mean, it's not really hot on the counter itself. I think I'm just feeling a little radiant heat from the cooker itself, but it's not hot down here. But here on the front, that glass is super hot. Here on the side, it feels hot there. I don't want to touch it. The back, let's see. The back is kind of warm. I guess, you know, it feels so hot here, I don't want to risk touching anything really. Alright, so I've got a thermal imaging camera here. So just getting a look at how things look. And on the front there, we see that, you know, things are really hot. We're talking about over 300 degrees hot on that glass, so I want to play around there. Coming around here to the side, I'm seeing here on the side that things are where I'm got the center, I mean, it's like over 200 degrees. Yeah, it's like near 200 degrees, you know, kind of here on the side, kind of hot. And so now I'm going to go around the back side here and see what I can see. Things look, you know, I'm seeing some heat back there. Let's see what I'm getting. Yeah, I mean, there's hotter over the top, but in the center, I mean, it's kind of hot back there. And then on the top here, where we've got the toaster, things are, you know, over 150 there. Where the toaster is, the back behind the toaster on top of it is very hot. I'm going to go around to the side here, this other side, get a look at things here. And getting a look at things here on the other side, we are looking at Well, it's like just in the 130s. I mean, that's because of the handle. But apart from the handle, things get pretty hot get hotter when not on the handle. So, I mean, basically this whole outside of this cooker is hot. You don't want to mess around on the exterior of it. Alright, so I've let things cool down a bit. I'm going to do a toast test. This is 2 slices of my whole wheat light sourdough bread. A video of how I make it is here on the channel. This bread being homemade is so large, it's probably not going to fit in fully no matter how it's turned. But we're going to go with it anyway. So I've got things on toast. I've got things to the darkest toast level. And so I'm just going to put those slices in here. And we'll see if, maybe Lord willing it'll go in. Yeah. So you can't see it, but this one here is kind of sticking a little bit up. But it's able to, get them in there good enough though. That's pretty decent. So just going to let that run for a while and we'll see what pops out. Alright, so it's done, pops up. Let's get it out of here. So, neither of these were buttered or anything of that sort. But this one that was on the right, we see it got some toasting on one side, kind of in the center there. On the back, got a little of the same. Got some singeing on the side. Over here on this one that was on the left, looks like it got more toasting than the other one. Maybe it's just a thinner cut. But got some, it looks like it cooked a little more on this side than on the other side. And let's see, each slice, well, I guess thinness, they're about the same, roughly the same as far as their thickness. So it wasn't a thickness issue or anything. It's just cooking a little more on the right than it is on the, well, a little more on the left, sorry, a little more on the left than it is on the right, from what I can tell. And I do want to mention when toasting, even though I had the temperature on 450, you don't need to have the temperature on anything when you're on toast. It's going to automatically use those 2 top heating elements and toast things up. And of course you've got your cancel button if you ever want to cancel toast, but cancel doesn't work on anything else. And cancel only lights up when you're in the toast mode and you're actively toasting. Alright, so now I'm going to do a bake test. I've got my almond flour chocolate chip cookie dough here for a dozen cookies, and I'll just flash the recipe on the screen for a moment. And so they recommend before you do a bake that you always preheat, and you accomplish that in this cooker by just running things for 5 minutes before putting the food in at your set temperature. So I'm switching things over to the oven setting, and I'm going to move the temperature down to 350, and I'm going to move the time over to 25 minutes. So I think I've got it on 25. Yeah, so it's about on 25. So I'm going to let it run for about 5 minutes to do a preheat, and then I'll go ahead and put the cookies in there. Alright, so it's been maybe about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in. Slide it all in here. See how things cook up. I'm not going to spin the pan. We'll just see how things cook front to back, how evenly it cooks. We'll let this go for a while. Alright, time's up, but they're not done. For sure they're not done, I don't think. So let me try and, hold on a sec, grab something, just pull this out a little bit. Just feel, but I'm doubting very much that they're done. Yeah, they're almost though. They're almost. They're more done than I expected, which is a good thing. But I'm going to kick it out another 10 minutes and let it go for another 10 or so, and we'll see how this does. Alright, it's been less than 27 minutes, about 27 minutes or so, And I'm going to go ahead and check them now because they probably won't need the full 30. I'm thinking they might be done by now and just, you know, getting a very light touch on the top, which is a good thing. Yeah, they're done. I can feel they're done. So I'm just going to turn the time to end it there. And they did pretty good. I mean, I can tell from the feel there's no mushiness in those cookies. So this is pretty good. Let me see if I can get it out without burning myself. Look at that. I mean, that's a very light touch on top. So that's pretty good. Also notice how things are fairly even. I mean, didn't turn them or anything. We're in there almost 30 minutes and pretty even all over. So that's pretty good. So let's talk about cleaning the cooker. Basically, they say to clean regularly for performance, longer life, and to reduce the risk of fire. And they say to let things cool down fully before you start cleaning, unplug, and never immerse the main unit in water, of course. And you should wash everything by hand. Nothing in here is recommended as dishwasher safe. And of course you don't want to use anything abrasive, but use like a warm soapy dishcloth to clean things, and then a wet one to wipe things down, and dry things off well. And you should be pretty good to go with that. So let's talk about the warranty. The cooker comes with a 5-year warranty, which is phenomenal. 5 years of coverage. I mean, great, can't beat that. And so it was able to do what a toaster oven does with a literal pop-up toaster built into it. So that's pretty neat. And it was able to hold my bread, you know, fairly decent. So that's pretty good. It was better than I expected as far as the size. As far as baking, I mean, it's a light touch type of baker. So, you know, it's not going to burn things up. You know, as far as baking, it cooks more like a traditional oven because it doesn't cook things super fast. There's no convection going on. But it cooks a very light touch, and so things turn out well. And so it did a good job for what it was made to do. And so nothing in this video is sponsored, nothing given to me, and I like to keep things that way and keep some distance from the manufacturers. And you can always check out my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com. Again, that's superwaveovenrecipes.com. In the video description, there's lots of ways to help the channel, such as my cookbook, merch, membership, donations, link to the Amazon shop where you pay the same price but help the channel. Also, buy me a coffee link is there. They're doing like monthly donation setups now too, if you want to do that. So lots of ways to help out. And so if you did like the video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe, hit that notification icon, and good eating.